Good evening, Ibrahim.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And good evening, Veronica. Yeah, we're standing in for my big sis, who's at a gala dinner. Fantastic to be in the Greater Durban area and to be presenting with you this evening on school matters.
So, the year is done. It's been a long year. We were just talking off air about the burnout, and it was now the other day, I think in April, Sumaya and them went off to Mecca, and I was doing her show, I think 3 or 4 times for her there, and it feels like it was in a blink of an eyelid. Did this year go as quick for you as well?
Yeah, I think this year really went quite fast. I mean, Veronica, we did close up shop. Can I say that? Close up shop quite late as well in the year.
Yeah, no, the other day.
It's burnout from the learner perspective, burnout from the educator perspective. And myself, I really did feel it this year as well. Every single year that passes, and I just feel sometimes there's just more and more administrative requirements, and that does become a bit taxing.
That was one of the things that we were discussing, Sumaya and I, at one of the programs. We were talking about there was a presentation here, and one of the questions were, what would we want to say to the department? And I think that was one of the things I mentioned as well, was all the admin. The admin, besides your normal task as educator, as social worker, as blah, 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 whatever it is that you're doing at your school. And there's just so many dedicated teachers. But I found that at our school, a lot of teachers started getting sick, like seriously sick. There was a flu bug here in Durban. I don't know if you guys...
Yeah, I've actually read it on the news where... Yes. Some of my friends, like good friends of mine in the medical sphere, he said it looks like it's about of like COVID-like symptoms.
It felt like I had it. I got it.
Yeah, it was, and I think that just set things up for a greater push to the end. Persevere and just push through.
Yeah,
this was quite tiring.
Yeah, no, my symptoms was that of COVID, when I had COVID, that absolute exhaustion, and it just prolonged. It just carried on and on and on, and it didn't seem to want to finish. And you sort of get by, and then the next moment you've got a cough again, and then you're not feeling well, and the exhaustion. And in the meantime, you're standing in a classroom and you're trying to get kids ready, matrics ready for trials, and matrics ready, because they came back and then it was the finals. It was very quick this year. And so the pressure, like we was talking about, and the burnout, I think, with teachers, and I saw it in our staff room, that teachers were tired at the end of the year as well. Teachers were tired. They needed this break. And the term, we were talking about it, I think, is a couple of days longer. And the terms, they just feel like there's no end to it.
Yeah, I was actually having a good conversation with my dad, who's going to be turning 74,
yeah.
And and he has been almost over 5 decades in construction, and as far as I could remember as a little kid, the construction sites all over normally tied in or were in sync. With schools, the closure of schools, for the year end. And I was actually telling him, Dad, but you know what? You guys are closing a week later, but we already closed a week late as well. Yeah. So it's like, yes, normally you'll close, on the 15th or, earlier. And I think those week or two, the week or two that was so-called, can I say, extended, I think educators felt the burnout. Kids, yes, the learners are now not in the classroom. And the reality is, I think this is a national reality where the DBE insist on, when we supply stats with the triple D, the dashboard with regards to your absenteeism. And even in Gauteng, the DBE, or at national level as well, they're very strict and staunch on, listen, your examination for term 4 has to be running from date X to date Y. They don't want you to start very early because they still want learners to be coming in, which is understandable.
And not stay
I agree.
away,
Yeah, but then the problem is being in a primary school, I mean, grade R till grade 7, you still get learners that when they're done with exams, they have that high school trend. I'm done with my paper. I'm not going to be returning. And then you see them probably on the last day or two to collect or returning textbooks or collecting the reports. You know, so
I know that there were many schools in Durban that carried on teaching, and that was the instruction, that you have to start with the next year's work. But, again, for a teacher who's trying to get their admin ready, I mean, we were copying photo modules and getting things ready for the next year. Now you still got to teach a couple of kids that are sitting there. And then when you come back, you've got to reteach them because they weren't in the class. So many of the learners weren't there.
No, 100%. You see, the problem I have with that is, say, example, you got a class of 40 learners and you just have, it's post-exam. So have that, in your mind now, it's post-exams. Educators are busy marking and management is busy doing their thing with moderations and lining up and getting everything ready for submissions, etc. And remember, you still got to sort out school readiness for 2026.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
And then how do you can't teach new sections or new content.
No,
no, they were doing it, but I mean, I'm not sure
tough.
if it's but from a state perspective, I mean, if you got 40 kids, for example, in the class and you had 3 learners who were present on the day, how do you then do everything plus teach those 3 learners new content or new aspects and, new curriculum, and then you're going to be reteaching that same exact curriculum again come 2026. So for me, it doesn't really tie in. It's not really in sync. It's reality. I know I always say it's nice to put everything where DBE comes in and says, this we're giving you all, it's going to be working perfectly. But in reality, we in the trenches, we on the ground. So we see things firsthand. Normally it doesn't work out very well, but I mean, and that leads to, once again, that burnout,
Well, this is on paper. There's a whole concept of paper looking much better than it is and practical application. Because when you're doing something practically, there's always 110 issues that paper doesn't dictate to you, that kind of thing. So, so I was talking to you off here just about you're talking about getting stuff ready now for the promotion meetings and stuff like that. And something that did catch my eye was the fact that the department now in the last week was stating about the repeat, that learners should rather repeat. And that it would be to the best interest of the learner. And I must say, in many cases, in my experience, it has been the best for a learner, what I've seen, for a learner to repeat the grade. Maturity kicks in. They made a mistake. They thought they were Superman, couldn't do it without doing any, studies. Because ultimately, when they do go, and I see that quite often when we condone learners from grade 10 to 11 or 11 into matric, that's where your matric failure rate comes from, is from those learners that were condoned because there's a little mark needed here. They were one mark, short here. And ultimately, because they think they can do it. What is your take on something like that?
You just put some a thought in my mind, because what we did this term, being the last term of the year, we had an additional submission to make pre your normal schedule, etc. submission. And these were concerning the learner's address. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, normally there's various IT systems that most of the schools use. But in South Africa, I think majority, if I'm not mistaken, I know us in Gauteng as well, we use SASAMs. And I'm sure you guys down here as well. So what they wanted to see from, and this is, I know Veronica listeners, she's speaking from a more high school or senior FET phase. And I'm speaking more from an intermediate senior phase, early senior, till grade 7. So what happened was we had to then submit marks for those learners, those LAR, learners at risk. So what the district wanted to see, or what the department wanted to see, say, example, you had Imran, and Imran was a learner, and Imran didn't pass well in term 1. Imran failed term 2, and Imran failed term 3. But Imran is a so-called borderline case. He is a learner at risk to be in that same bracket as failing. It's a good possibility he might fail the year, but it's not cast in stone that he will fail the year. But what the DBE wants to see now is that come term 4, and Mr. Khan, for example, who's Imran's educator, now decides, you know what, but Imran, example, 40%, with English, with the home language, English, it's 50%. And your other subjects and your first additional, be it Afrikaans, etc., it's 40%. So here comes Imran, and Imran achieved 36%. So Imran needs, so remember, it's not marks, it's percent. That 4%, if he has 36, he needs 40. 4% could be 50 marks. You don't know yet.
That's correct.
So then Mr. Khan, who's his educator, has to go back and then adjust. So what the district was very smart about things, Veronica, they didn't want Mr. Khan, who's Imran's educator, to go back to term 1 and adjust, back to term 2 and adjust, so then we can see Imran passing come term 4. We had to, before the marks were normally submitted come year end, we had to submit your SBA marks for term 1, 2, and 3. So when you go in for submission come year end, and that learner is on that list, and they just want to compare, and they want to look at it and say, no, this learner was condoned, or this learner was acknowledged. That's the correct word, acknowledged, and the learner, yes, has not made it through for the year. But the borderline cases, and then you see educators and stressing out management, and management members stressing out educators.
Putting pressure.
Yeah, because I mean, for example, if, say a child has just did very well. I mean, wouldn't say has done very well. I'll say that the learner had achieved, say, even in the 50s, or the learner achieved in the 60s, but the learner has failed your subject. You remember, personally, when we go into these meetings with facilitators and district officials, they want to know, what has the teacher done? Well, what's the intervention? What's support? What has the teacher, what has the educator done? Is it because that educator has, maybe it's a personality? I even had that question being asked to me. Mr. Khan, do you think one of your teachers had a personality clash or something with that learner? And I'm talking about primary school level, not even in a high school level, where they are more mature personalities and bigger egos, and you can end up, but I mean, so that's one of the things. So talking about what you mentioned earlier with regards to the matriculants may be repeating a year for those learners who didn't really make it, with regards to the whole adjustment. For me, it's touch and go. Some people, some feedback that I get, they say, no, it's very political on certain, I wouldn't say flat out adjustments, but the direction or the approach. And I can, I understand their point of view, but I think, look, from what I've seen, yes, the exposure I had with regards to matriculants, Veronica, a lot of them had pushed in the hard work. They went the extra mile, and kudos to them. I mean, they deserve it, and I'm sure they're anxious. I mean, I got my eldest nephew that just wrote matric, and he's, we actually took him out for lunch today. It was all the grandkids, my dad and I, and he's also anxious, he's also stressed, but so is every other matriculant. So if I was a matriculant, and if I was a borderline case, and someone told me, you know what, I'm sorry, young man, you got to repeat the year, I would also be so down about it, Oh,
but absolutely, because you don't expect that.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, it's there's two ends to it. But what if you get a learner? I was just telling you, even off air. Remember when we were 6 years old, we were in class 1. Now you're getting a 7-year-old who's in grade 1. Yeah. So
you see that what they were saying also in this, and I think it's just interesting for the listeners also to be aware of that there's money involved.
Correct.
The department gives the schools money So they were talking about a bottleneck that it could happen. Now, I know, for example, us in the high school, when we have for the grade nines, and all the grade nines normally have what is called the subject choices. They've got to choose their subjects going into grade 10, 11, and 12. And for us, when the grade 10s fail the year, it becomes problematic because we don't have space for them, because we've now already allocated all our grade 9s into the different technical subjects. And now these grade 10s come and they fail, and now they become a problem because now we're full in this, and then they want to do this. And the parents demand this, and the parents demand that. And so I can understand where the bottleneck, what they're talking about, a bottleneck. But and also what sort of irritates me is that the department has dropped their funding to schools,
Correct.
which leaves schools even more in a dire situation because, already in many situations, schools battle with finances. And so I think it's very difficult to maintain the just the smooth running of a school if there's no finances, if the department is also now cutting, what now? What do the schools? So what we're going to do is we're going to have a short break. And when we come back, we can discuss that topic, just so it's quite a debatable topic.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so we'll see you just now. Thank you.
This segment is brought to you by Kenfield Auto, your RMI approved service and repair specialist. 236 Brickfield Road, Overport. Kenfield Auto.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. ربنا افتح بيننا وبين قومنا بالحق وأنت خير الفاتحين.
Car won't start.
Kenfield Auto.
Noisy brakes.
Kenfield Auto.
Due for a service.
Kenfield Auto. Kenfield Auto, the answer to all your car problems. Your service and repair specialist for your VW, Audi, Suzuki, Toyota, or just about any vehicle. Kenfield Auto, your RMI and insurance approved workshop to handle them all. 236 Brickfield Road, Overport. Call us on 031 207 2399. Kenfield Auto. Welcome to Simplex Radio. Visit our showroom for the full range of car audio. Our TV department carries top brands with quality LED panels, full HD to Ultra HD, and now the experience of Super Ultra HD. Visit our theater rooms and transform your home with brands like Onkyo, Integra, Denon, Boston Acoustics, Yamaha, and more for quality audio visual experience. Now available, full range of home appliances. A one-stop shopping experience. Call 031 306 4029 or Kenilworth Park, 202 Brickfield Road, Overport. Simplex Radio, the name you can trust.
Discover the breathtaking beauty of Pakistan with Show Me Raj Travel. From the vibrant streets of Islamabad to the magical valleys of Naran, Hunza and Skadu. This is a journey you'll never forget. Enjoy return airfares from Johannesburg, 10-night deluxe accommodation, daily breakfast and dinner, round-trip transport and guided sightseeing. All from just 29,999 per person sharing. Book today. Call 031 208 4222 or visit www.miragetravel.co.za or follow Show Mirage Travel on social media. Show Mirage Travel, your journey to wonder begins here.
Meet the BYD Sea Lion 5, a plug-in hybrid that combines electric range with petrol flexibility. It delivers smooth acceleration, strong fuel savings, and modern safety tech. Or get behind the wheel of the BYD Dolphin Surf, the most affordable EV in South Africa. It offers nimble handling, low running costs, and easy charging. Our experienced team will help you compare specs, financing, and test drives. Drive cleaner, save on running costs. Visit BYD Durban at 950 Amgeni Road to book a test drive today. Proudly part of the Alpine Motor Group.
You are listening to School Matters with Sumaya Khan.
Radio Al-Ansar, Durban, 90.4 FM. Peter Maritzburg, 105.6 FM.
You are listening to School Matters with Sumaya Khan.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Veronica Slabert. I'm standing in for Sumaya, who is at a gala dinner at a fair tonight for Radio Al-Ansar. And with me is her handsome brother and deep voice, beautiful voice, Ibrahim. Is that correct? Yes.
Yeah, Ibrahim.
Khan with me. And we are talking about just the end of the year burnout, and just pressures, general pressures that we think parents and listeners can just be aware of, and the struggles that we as educators do face. And it's so we were talking just before the break about the department who has dropped their funding to schools, and what pressure that now puts on schools in terms of providing stationery and so forth to schools, even in some cases feeding schemes that are taking big knocks, and it's just puts so much pressure on staff, on children, and it just adds to our sort of main topic, which is burnout. So in your experience now, you as in management, what is your experience now with this lack of funding?
You know, Veronica, we had a lot of many irate, angry, could I just say maybe like really pissed off parents that approach the school. Remember, they come in towards the end to fetch reports or, drop off the textbooks, etc. with the learner. But a lot of them are owing school fees. So what happens now, what Veronica listeners was talking about is that the cutting or the snipping of the funding. Remember, schools fall into various quintiles. And the higher you are, you actually, apparently your quintile is receive for the school depending on your location of the school, whether you're in a very affluent area or there's many business districts or businesses, etc. around the school. So a lot of the quintiles were pushed up. So, for example, with us, Veronica, we were pushed up to quintile 5, from 4, and we were always fighting it. But this time, it was across the board with GDE, with the Gauteng Department of Education. And what that means is that our funding. Remember, we have 1,400, just over 1,400 learners from grade R to 7.
That's a lot.
And then you're getting so there is a ratio per child that the DBE. Has a ratio with regards to funding per child, all right? And now, for example, with us, it's under 400K down with regards to funding.
And you know what really freaked me out is that I'm on Our Schools SGB, and that this statement came out after most of the schools have had their financial
correct AGMs were done.
Everything was done. In other words, budgets
Budgeting.
for the next year has all been set in. Now they come and drop this bomb on the schools.
Correct.
And now the schools, like you say, are so much in debt. And where is this money going to come from? Who's going to which parent will now suddenly come and say, but I'm prepared to pay like 1,000 Rand extras for school fees, blah, blah, blah. No, not one of the parents will do that. And many parents are struggling, and unemployment and it's very difficult.
You know, we one of the cheapest schools with regards to fees in the Johannesburg area. We're the biggest. We're not one of. We are the biggest inner city school in the greater Johannesburg area with just over 1,400 kids. And unfortunately, we are a fee-paying school. You know, we are not a no-fee-paying school.
Yeah.
I mean, if I give you numbers on running a school of that magnitude, you're looking at 60 to 70,000 Rand a month is your water.
And lights, yeah.
No,
Just-
your water bill.
Yeah.
Another 60 to 70 is your electricity bill for the month. Remember, what about all your other service providers, whether it's your IT company that runs your servers with regards to your internet facilities or your phones,
Or your computer rooms,
computer rooms, your duplicating
Just
machine.
the printers is an issue. On
Exactly.
So you as an educator have to print documents for your children, but every photocopy that is being made costs the school money. If the schools own the photocopy machine, what happens is that eventually there has to be some form of contract to service these photocopy machines because they break. And the amount of paper, just buying paper,
A lot of
for
paper.
photocopying machines. I mean, paper is very, very expensive, and we take it for granted. You know, I think, and I know because I'm sort of a grandmom now. And what happens is these kids bring pictures home and now they've colored it in. And each of these pages needed to be photocopied.
Yeah.
And how much is a photocopy? 20, 30, 40 cents,
No, much
photocopy?
more, I think. Eh?
Okay, but I mean, this is minimum. And there's 40 in a class, and this is for a grade. There's 4 classes in a grade. It's a lot of money that is being spent just on one piece of paper for your child to color in a picture, or do some geography, do map work, or find the earth, or find cities on the earth. Or I don't think the department sometimes realizes what the burnout is that they add to educators.
I remember, was it in the term 3 this year, the unions across the board sent out a questionnaire to all their branch level execs in the country, all the unions, all the major unions. And one of the questions, or one of the aspects that was very in detail specific was regarding teacher educator burnout. Do you think administrative skills have requirements have increased so much? Because I always tell everyone, what is told to me. Education or your school core business is teaching and learning. And then how does then that educator fulfill, earlier on you mentioned, Veronica, you're the educator / social worker / it's the different hats you wear.
Yeah.
And it's not in different day, not on a different day, different parts of the day you're wearing a different hat.
Remedial intervention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So all of these, the parents out there might not understand that, but how does the budget, they state paid, it's not going to really determine their salaries or their increments, etc. Yes, correct. But when you don't have the resources or the finances for those resources, how do you continue as a staff? Forget about management, collectively, as a staff, to assist those learners and for you to have your core functions, productive.
You see, now that's where educators would have to go in and get companies to help sponsor.
Correct.
And now so that there's another clip that you've got to put on your CV. I am now doing fundraising in the school, get the parents to fundraise and so forth and so forth. So it is extremely, extremely, extremely difficult. We have in our technical in the high school, and we've got these machines. A lathe costs anything between 300,000 and 400,000 rand for a lathe. That's one lathe. That's not even welding, the electrical stuff. It is extremely difficult. I must say there's some educators that are, like in our mechanical department, some of the educators there has managed to keep good contact with industry and bring money into the school. And that money is instantly used, not even on the mechanical department, it's used into the school. Because we have to use the money for the school. Otherwise, there's issues. You've got to use this money. You can't. I would love to generate a couple of thousand rand and go and buy a lot of scopes, but it doesn't. It unfortunately doesn't work like that. So what I have to do is, when I'm doing budgets and stuff like that, I need to. When I am doing my quotes, I need to try and get within my budget. I need to get the lowest quotes that I can, and I really push these companies and say, please, the quote as low as you can, so that we can save and that we have a little bit of. But that doesn't always mean that we can spend the budget. Just because you put the budget in, it doesn't mean that the money is available. Because sometimes, schools with rains, we have damages and our school with these rains that we've had so much damage. And so
I've seen it along the north coast of KZN.
South coast,
South
Toti,
coast.
Wasn't it Toti? No.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was Belito or Margate, but I've seen videos and texts with the flooding, and there was some schools that were severely affected as well. I've seen people's homes being damaged.
Yeah.
So whether it's a private, whether it's a public school is a school. Education is education. Learners need to be in the classroom. Will they be ready come 2026, the new academic year as well? It's challenging. I mean, there's so many factors. So, listeners, it all bends down to leading to one of the many things, as we mentioned at the start of this topic, learner or educator burnout.
I think the parents, and Sumaya and I talk about this quite often when parents come in raging and they want to fight with you about their child and their little darling hasn't done X, Y, and Z. And sometimes it is very important that parents must understand what pressures it goes through. I think just a mom and maybe a dad, but definitely it depends on what the situation is at home. But if mom's got 4 kids at home and those 4 kids drive her insane, can you imagine 40 kids? And you can say, keep quiet. And it's like talking to the wall sometimes. And then sometimes it's not because the teacher lacks discipline. It's just sometimes this is just the way it is. And you try your best and get stuff done. Or now there is a learner in the class, parents, and you need to please understand, and we've also spoken about this, where learners have their own pace, their own abilities. And you as an educator still also under pressure in terms of getting that done, getting them ready for these exams. And the department, and I think that's something parents must also please understand, that there is a specific syllabus per week worked out for every educator in every province. Your syllabus isn't quite the same as ours, I think, as far as I know. But we get for the year, at the beginning of the year, we get what is called the pace setters. And we have to follow these pace setters. And in week 1 of term 1, this has to be done. And it's the same with you.
Yeah. So
even with the babies, so
there's always curriculum coverage being submitted.
Yes.
Right, always. But I think in certain subjects that are most rigid and structured, like mathematics,
yes.
or come to the senior phase, and maybe there's physical science, for example.
Yes.
So those subjects are very structured and rigid. There's not much flex.
No.
Especially with the maths team as well at our school.
Yeah.
They week 1 and 2 they need to cover X, Y, and Z, and that's it. The following week or the
ABC,
next cycle, they need to cover.
Yeah.
Because not just on the curriculum coverage, it's also you need to cover those specific tasks or those specific
topics. Yeah.
That's it.
And they must be assessed as well.
Correct.
And moderated and feedback given.
Correct.
And now little Johnny is absent, for a week. Now Johnny comes in, Johnny doesn't know. So you have to sit there and you have to now remediate little Johnny as well, because little Johnny went in for an operation or had flu. Or. So it is, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's very, very important at the end of the year now. I mean, it's Christmas, almost Christmas. Can you believe it? And then New Year next year, and then it's the New Year. And then the moment it's the 2nd of January, we all start going into first gear. Isn't that so?
And the thing, Veronica, as well, is that the Islamic holy month of Ramadan.
Yes, is also
it's around the corner.
Yes, that's also.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's in Feb, around mid-Feb. So that the one thing I really don't miss in the Durban area is those peak hot summers with extreme humidity.
Why are you swearing these? Stop swearing.
I promise you. And there's, the kids are now breaking into the new year. It's the fasting month as well. There's going to be challenges.
No, it's hot.
Yeah.
It's already hot. Didn't you feel today?
Today was quite hot. I think there's a bit of rain expected in the Durban area
tonight,
this evening.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a new academic year. Ramadan is around the corner as well. Learners, what happens to, little Mohammed, who's now in grade 1? And, he's keeping, it's not compulsory on them at that little age, but a lot of them do keep. I mean, it's practice and a lot of them are very keen and it's wonderful to see. But I mean, on all aspects, it'll be an interesting 2026 when it does come through. I mean, sometimes I feel like the DBE, the Department of Basic Education, they throw a bit of curveballs at you. and
Well-
and you got to be like doing the Matrix. Imagine, doing the Matrix, as in bending over backwards and dodging bullets, because you don't know what to
Listen,
expect.
darling, let me
Eh?
explain something to you. KZN, I think, came second last year for the matric results. We have been under pressure, like 200 million%, because we've got to be first this year. So we push, and I must say, and I'm sure many other schools can commit to this as well. We've worked very hard to try and get there. We will have to wait and see if it is going to happen, and we're holding thumbs. But can you imagine hopefully we can beat you guys, Gauteng or whoever it is that's always first. And we just try and get there, and then the pressure is on to maintain that, or if we didn't, then the pressure is even 10 times more, because we must probably just missed it. And so it's quite tough. And then the other thing that I just, in the last couple of minutes of this thing, want to just talk to learners that have been under pressure, and matrics, for example, that's waiting for their matric results, as you were saying. Hang in there. It's about 3 more weeks, and then the results are out. Just a word of advice: go in instantly, and just make sure that if you've been accepted and you got your grades, go and again just state that you are going, confirm which institution you are going to go there and register, make sure all the paperwork and stuff has been done. And then to the other learners, what is your take for them for next year? What would your advice be for the 2026 learners, any grade?
Veronica, with the matriculants that, hats off to them, class of 2025. You're going to get those that some of them maybe didn't really reach their true potential. Some of them fought really hard. Yes, they got through, but maybe they want to rewrite some papers. Boys and girls, matriculants 2025, listen to me. You guys are an awesome bunch. Life has ups and downs. It is not the end of the world. Maybe you want to rewrite your maths paper because you needed a higher percent to get into a certain faculty at a tertiary institution. Maybe you got example 70 and you needed 80, for the point system, etc., getting in. There's no shame in that. You put in a valiant effort, rewrite it. Why cut yourself or sell yourself short of achieving your true potential? So listen, it's not the end of the world. As Veronica mentioned earlier, for some of them who felt like maybe we need to redo certain things, redo it. I mean, better late, better now than never ever doing it. And you're still young,
and you're not failing. You're not a failure.
You're not 40 years old.
Listen. What's wrong with 40?
I'm in my 40s now, and I just read an article. They say 40. There was a split with millennials and Gen Zs, and they say those from 81, because I fall in that bracket, from 1981, etc. With the millennials and the Gen Zs, we are different in a different bracket, but matriculants. You fought hard, you put up that fight, you're right there, results are there, relax, enjoy, and just a word of advice. When you get your results, just that little prayer in your head, whatever you do, and also remember those, what are those parties called the matriculants have,
The
Veronica?
raves, they're already done.
Yeah,
But
I mean, normally they have ones that are also after.
I don't know.
Just be safe, matriculants, and remember, eyes on the prize. Come 2026, you should be now more clear with regards to what faculty you're in and what you will be doing. So that's just a little bit from my side.
Even if they don't get the nod to go study, it doesn't mean that it's the end of the world.
Correct.
I keep on saying this, and I say this to all my from the grade 10, 11, and 12, because some of the learners leave school, at grade 10 and 11. And I always say, when you stand there, you go and you knock on all the doors, and you see which door opens for you. And sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm saying this very honestly, sometimes you've got to go work for a place for free.
Yeah.
Show yourself, prove yourself. Because work out there is not a lot, but there is work. And you can't sit at home and then say, but there's no work. There is work. And the thing is, it's not maybe the one that you want.
Correct.
But you've got to start somewhere.
Correct.
And being fussy and mommy and daddy supporting this, in the end, parents, you're going to be paying for your child if your child's going to be fussy for the rest of your life, because he's not going to get a job instantly, maybe in the field that he wants to, or you want the child to be in. Let the child go and knock on the different doors and say, I'm here. This is who I am. I'm selling myself. Please pick me.
So, if I'm not mistaken, having a chat not too long ago with Sumaya, she has been really, really networking on the various education aspects. And one of them that what I really liked, because I have a few friends as well in the Johannesburg area, is that remember, they actually introduced certain subjects in grade 12. All right. And with the content accredited, etc., at many well-known schools in the country, actually, not just in the Gauteng and KZN area as well. But what happens is that when they do pass matric, all right, they're unsure. A lot of the learners today, we see they are unsure on what do I really love to do? What do I want to study? What do I qualify to study? And what this company does as well, I think Sumaya Khan will shed more light on it going forward in the year and stuff like that. They actually have internship programs, Veronica, fabulous. It's I call it like a franchise. It's a start key operation. I mean, you're getting exposure into a certain field, and you're getting a certificate course. I mean, it's just for those who say, I want to take a gap year, I want to work. This is a fantastic way of working.
So we have something like that at our school as well. I run it, in fact. I collect CVs from the learners. And then companies contact the school and say, we are looking for plumbers, we are looking for carpenters, we are looking for welders, fitting and machinists. And I have collected the CVs during the year. I'm very strict with their CV, because the CV, I always try and, because they're so dumb with their little CV and they write all this nonsense. And I say, but remember, this is your first impression. So then I have all these CVs, and then as the companies contact me, then I send these CVs out. So we have regulars that will contact me every year, and then sometimes there's some new companies that come in, even up as far as March, April, May, into the next year. And so it's such an, and then by January, a lot of the kids say, but I thought I was going to be Superman and I was going to get this job and I was going to earn all these millions. Even then, kids quickly send in their CVs and say, I haven't got something yet. Please help me. So our school does that, and these companies offer them learnerships and training and big companies. There's some big companies. I don't want to say the name on the radio now, but there's some very big companies that come in and they deal with us on a yearly basis, and so they do help the learners with employment, which we are very grateful for. So I think in closing, almost time for us to close. What is your final moments for this, for just burnout for teachers?
Educators, down your tools. You got work and you have family. It's family time. Make memorable memories with your little ones and with your kiddos, with your spouses, just with your family and your extended family as well. And my little message for the matriculants, I know most of you all have fought hard, valiant effort. You're almost there. I know there's nerves and anxiousness. It's not the end of the world. Just hanging there, and God's grace, everything will work. It will work out well for you, and be positive about everything. And all the best in 2026. And that's just from my side. Veronica, thanks for having me on the show.
No, pleasure. Thank you so much. It's lovely chatting. And to, as you were saying, to the matrics, all the best. We will be chatting to the matrics early next year. And then for the upcoming 2026 matrics, work from day one. And to the educators who are having their break, keep it going. Just relax, sleep late, do whatever it is that you have to do. Take care. Good night.
You are listening to School